Everyone is talking about becoming successful these days, building your own business, becoming who you're meant to become. But I think the real question is, how do you even know who you are meant to be? At least I know I asked myself that question. I was in my second year of law school, and I remember one day I was sitting at uni and I was filling out applications for summer internships. I was halfway through this enormously long application when I stopped because I felt uninspired and unmotivated. And I just thought, you know what, this is pointless. They were asking me all these questions about why do you want to work for us? What can you bring to the table? And I remember thinking, I don't want to work for you. So it's very difficult to explain why I want to work for you if I actually don't. And I'm sure a lot of you probably experienced this as well. That's when I realized that becoming a lawyer wasn't really my path. And I felt completely lost because I had no idea what to do instead. I knew I wanted to do something greater in life, to build something greater, but I had no idea what or how or even how to get started. And so the first thing I did was I started taking time to self reflect, do a lot of internal analysis. And I remember at that time I spoke with someone and they said, well, if you don't want to become a lawyer, what do you actually want to do? What do you like to do? And I had no clue. And I felt so frustrated because I was thinking, how can I not know what I like? The truth is, I had spent the last 5 years focusing on studying, getting into law school, getting good grades, and all of that. And so I had completely lost myself in the process. So I think the biggest thing I did when I was in this process of self-reflecting was I started thinking back to what did I like to do as a child? Because I think when we're children, we have lots more free time and also more freedom over how to use it. So we tend to use it in a way that we enjoy. And I remember when I was a little girl, I used to love singing. I would love trying to sing different songs, and I really enjoyed it. So that was the first thing I did. The second thing I did, and by the way, disclaimer, these things didn't happen in a short span of time, actually. The second step that I'm about to say now actually took place, I think, around a year and a half, 2 years later. So after I graduated and I started working, in my free time, I thought, okay, you know what? If I know that I want to start singing, then let me start working on my singing skills. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think if you figured out what you think you would like to do, because then you never know, but it's good to try and start working on those skills. What I did is I started watching YouTube videos on how to sing better, and I started just rehearsing at home, trying new songs, challenging my voice. And I had a friend as well who is really good at singing, and I asked her, listen, can you just help me out sometimes, give me a few lessons? And so I did. And I did that for a while. And I think it was really good because it helped, it was giving me purpose. I enjoyed it. I had something that was making me feel fulfilled outside of work, because we still need an income, right? And I think this step was particularly important because it also helped me to build confidence. When I started working on my singing skills, I started putting myself out there. I started feeling confident when I got positive feedback and so on. So obviously this pushed me to the next step. And the next step was I took action. Because a lot of times we have this vision in our head, we build this dream life in our head, but then we never take action. And so it kind of stays there in our head. So what I started doing is I started recording myself. I started recording cover songs. I started learning to play the piano. I knew very little about piano, but just, the bare minimum you need to play your music while you're singing. And I started posting them on Instagram. And I remember I really enjoyed it. Again, getting lots of positive feedback from the people I knew. I liked it. And this is where the turning point came, actually, because at that point in time, I was going through a fairly challenging season in my life. And I remember that I just spontaneously started writing about it as a way to express my emotions, process what I was going through. And at some point along the way that year, I actually abruptly stopped singing. I don't remember why, to be honest, but it's funny because I started writing and I was writing a lot about what I was going through, what I was learning about it. And that's when it clicked on me, actually. I had a little light bulb moment when I realized that when I was a child, I actually used to love writing. I would write stories in my free time for fun. And up until that point, I had never realized it. I completely forgot about it, basically. That's when I knew, okay, I love singing, but writing actually gives me something more, which doesn't mean I dismissed singing, but it means I started focusing on writing. And I think the lesson I learned from this is you have to take action, first of all, because there's going to be many things you like doing. So just because you like something doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna like doing that for the rest of your life. And it doesn't mean you want to build a career around that as well, because that's what I thought when I was younger. If you like something, you just do that. To be fair, that's what they teach us in school, don't they? Just choose the subject you like the most, and go to uni and study it, and then start working in that field. But actually, that is not exactly how it works. So that's how I discovered writing. And the funniest thing is that in the coming months, as I was writing, I actually realized that I love speaking as well, and I love sharing what I learn. It was a very big stepping stone for me when I realized this, because I never would have figured this out if I dismissed the idea that I felt lost in the first place. And also, if I never took the time to actually first self reflect, then work on my skills, and then take action. Because the reality is, a lot of times we think we like something and we have that vision of, oh, maybe I could do this for the rest of my life, maybe I can build a career around this. But the reality is, we don't really know until we do it. So these are the 3 steps I took over time to figure out what I actually can do in my life that makes me feel fulfilled and gives me purpose. And I think that's the foundation of building our dream life. Because let's be honest, dream life isn't about luxury cars, it's not about a beautiful home. I mean, obviously, you can have all those things, and we all like those things because we're human. And I'm not saying you shouldn't aspire to get those things, but they are not going to be the foundation of your fulfillment. If you want to build a fulfilled life, then you have to do something that brings you fulfillment and something that gives you purpose. And I believe that something is already within us. We just have to figure out what it is, find out what it is, and bring it to life.